Yo, what is up guys, and welcome back to another one of my Epic 7 YouTube videos. Today I have another tier list for you guys today, and it is going to be again with RGB 5-star units. That is correct, no Moonlight units, no 4 stars, only Earth, Fire, and Ice 5-star units, and this time around it is going to be focused on PvP. I had a tier list in the past where I focused on RGB 5 stars for PvE, but PvP has a completely different tier list, and units are much stronger in PvP or much weaker in PvP than in PvE. So the tier list is a lot different, so I'm going to be making a separate tier list for you guys today. Now keep in mind guys that this is my own opinion and you guys may have differing ones. You guys may know more than I do about some units because you guys use them more. If you guys do think that, then let me know in the comments down below, and maybe I'll update my tier list in the future considering your guys' thoughts and comments. Now I apologize for the poor picture quality behind some of the units. If you can see at the bottom in the waiting room, you'll see that some of the backgrounds and some of the pictures are a little blurry. This is the only updated tier list I could find on the website I'm using, and I promise that in the future I'll try to find better ones and try to wait for higher quality pictures to come out or upload it myself to make it more bearable. Now without further ado, let's get started and hop right into the tier list. Starting off first, left to right, we're going to have Valencia. Valencia used to be a powerhouse in the past, especially when a long time ago, like about a year ago, you saw only like Crowd, DN, like SSBs, like a lot of ice units were very powerful. But she's fallen off the meta a lot recently just because you can just ignore her and she won't really do damage. She kind of relies on getting hit a lot. So I would put her probably in, I don't want to give her, it's either high C or low B. I'll give her low B because I think her S3 Dispel is still kind of useful because it is an AoE Dispel. And she has a defense buff. Next we have Araminta. She's kind of a bad unit in PvP. Also not that great in PvE either. I'm going to have to give her a D tier just because she revolves a lot around burns. And a lot of units have cleansing again nowadays, and also she doesn't really do that much damage, so I have to give her a D tier. Balance is on, very strong in PvE. You can use him Earth Expedition, you can use him Raid, Labyrinth, wherever. PvP not so much. He's kind of weird to use because he relies a lot on poisoning units and just like debuffing. Again, a lot of cleansing, and also his debuffs aren't that great for PvP. It's only a slowdown, and I think defense break and poison. Yeah, easily a D tier for me as well. Next we have Baiken. Baiken's also really strong in PvE, but in PvP, I don't think she's really used that much. You can use her kind of as an RB counter if you have like A-lots, you push her up, S2 RB kill him, and then S3. But then you need Symbol of Unity on her to make sure that he doesn't have MLDB or Moonlight Dreamblade, and you don't want to waste your Symbol of Unity on Baiken, so easy D tier for me. Yeah. Basar has always been really powerful. I think recently though he's fallen off a little bit in RTA, but he's still really strong in Guild Wars and Arena. On offense and defense, not so much. I'll give him an easy S tier. If this was only RTA, he would probably be like A tier, fall into A tier, or B tier even. But right now, I think overall for PvP, he is easy S tier. Bellona, not really used in PvP, very OP in PvE. You can use her as like a setup for your cleavers. You can use her as an AoE defense break and like a semi-DPSer. But besides that, I don't really see any use for her. I would give her like a very low C tier because you can use her more than the other units as like a arena offense unit to defense break their entire team. Issaria. Now I think Issaria is very underrated. She's very strong in PvE, don't get me wrong, but in PvP people say you can only use her with Tamarin in like a Tamarin Issaria cleave. But the thing is, I think you can use her without it. I think there's a streamer that actually first picks Issaria every game and actually makes her work. For that reason, I'm going to give her a C tier. I think she's actually better than Bellona, so I'm going to put her above Bellona here, high C tier. I think she has a lot of potential. It's just that people don't really want to use her for PvP that much because they're using her for PvE as well. Now, next we have Cerise. She is a limited unit, and if my memory serves correct, she usually comes around winter time or early spring. She's also kind of an opener unit. You can build her really fast. She has 128 base speed, which is the highest in the game, tied with some other units. She's just a really strong opener, and she actually does a lot of damage with her S1 proccing dual attacks randomly with her team. So she's an easy S tier. I think she's above Basar right now for overall usage, but if you cleave, I think Basar might be better than Cerise. Following Cerise, we have Celine. Celine's mostly only used as a disruptor with her exclusive equipment that came out. She's really good at sniping, you know, your main DPS. She's good against like Maid Chloe, like CDOM for cleavers. You're just really good at disrupting anything that has a non-attack skill because she will just basically one-shot your DPS unless they're super tanky. I'm gonna give her about probably a low B tier, high C tier. I'm gonna put her in high C because she is pretty niche. and you can actually play around her by just not using your non-attack skill. So I'm gonna give her a high C for now. Sermia, she's a really good Guild Wars offense unit. She's okay in arena offense, but it's harder because there's 4 units instead of the 3 units in Guild Wars. Not really using RTA, and she needs a lot of setup, but she is a really good single target nuker, so I'm going to give her a high C tier. There's a lot of good single target nukers. You don't have to use Sermia, but she is just fun to use, so I'm going to give her a C tier. Charles used to be S tier a long time ago because of his counterattacks, but then again, it is also always RNG. Sometimes he'll counter everything, sometimes he'll counter nothing, sometimes he'll just counter, sometimes. So because of that, it's hard to place him super high or super low. I'm just going to put him in B tier, smack dab in the middle, just because there's a lot of RNG, but when his RNG does proc, he can single-handedly carry you games. Now, Charlotte. Charlotte is kind of a recently buffed unit that has gotten, a lot stronger than she used to be. Really, really strong in RTA, good S10A counter, Landy counter, good in offense teams for Guild Wars and Arena if you can find a Landy defense or anything that has some Earth units. She's just really powerful right now. I think as a main DPS, you can even run her, and I'm going to put her in a high A tier. She might even be low S. I think if time goes on and the meta shifts a bit more into her favor, where the games are a little slower, she'll be very, very, very strong. Chloe, easy D tier, low D. She has like literally no usage in PvP. Only used in PvE for one thing, and that's Weird 13, and she sucks at that too. Not sucks, but is just mediocre. So low D tier. Cecilia, I'm gonna give Cecilia a low A. She's just a really good disruptor with her AoE provoke. She has attack down. She's just really annoying to play against. She might not be like super powerful, but I think she's just really annoying to play against. So low A tier for me. She also is a knight, so she can hold some good artifacts to protect her team. And yeah, she's just a lot of debuffs on your team and will disrupt your DPS a lot. Shu also got another exclusive equipment that kind of makes her like Charles. The only thing is she's not a knight, so she can't hold Elbrit, so she can't counter as much as Charles will. But when she does counter, she does a lot of damage. Only thing is she is just like hard countered by Landy because Shu has a lot of buffs to your team. I think before the exclusive equipment came out, she was like a C or D tier, probably like a C. But with the exclusive equipment, I'm going to put her in B tier, probably a little bit above Charles, but still Valencia, I think, in my opinion. Destina's a good cleanser. That's all she really does. She cleanses and heals. There's like other better Soul Weavers that are better than her, but I still think she's like okay. I think Soul Weavers are are very underrated and have a lot of power, but Destina, kind of just like a basic healer that cleanses as well. That's all she really does. No other buffs or attack boosting for her team. I'm gonna put her in low B. It's either low B tier, high C tier. I'm gonna put her in low B tier for now, or I might move her later. Diane's really good at cycling turns with her CR push, and she also gives you a lot of buffs, a lot of barriers. She gives you attack buff, crit damage down. Very, very strong. Only thing is Landy hard counters her, but I still think she's a very strong pick. I'm gonna give her A tier. I think she's above Cecilia. Even though Landy hard counters her, you can just either pick Landy with her or ban it after in RTA, or in Guild Wars offense or Arena offense you won't see Landy as much, and you might be able to just dodge the Landy teams as well. Dizzy used to be S tier when she first came out, but unfortunately she gets countered by a lot of units now. G purges, LR Crow, anything that is very, very strong against AoE S1s that can either CR push like G purge, or like I said, LR Crow gets his S3 cooldown. Also, there's a lot of cleansing, and yeah, she also needs to go first, or she needs to be on the counter set, so you need to invest a lot of gear into her. So I'm going to put her in C tier. I think she's better than Sermia, but not as good anymore. She is still pickable in RTA, and in Arena offense and Guild Wars offense, you can still pick her, but it's hard to use her, to be honest. Ada, I think this unit sucks. Yeah, not much to say. She's kind of like a Dizzy, but like a lot weaker, and Dizzy C tier, so she's D tier automatically. I think she's still above the others, but still very bad. Elena's a really strong pick now. I think she is somewhere in the A tier, and let me explain why. Very good in RTA against AoE attacks. She just takes less damage. She also gets invincibility buff, so she's really good at cutting cleave teams, and she's just really good against certain like AoE team comps, like Carrot, right? She's really good against. So if you can counter cleave and Carrot, I'm gonna put you in A tier. She's just very strong. I don't know if she's as strong as Diane. I think she is right now. But yeah, I think she's a very strong unit. If you have her and you're struggling against cleave, you might want to build her. Elfelt, kind of a cleave only unit. Gonna put her in, wow, I should have maybe made a cleave tier, but it's okay. I'm gonna put her in C tier, I think above Dizzy. She's really, really good in cleave with Bassar, and then she kind of does some damage if you build her for it. Yeah, you only really use her in cleave. She just defense breaks everyone for you. She kind of does what Flan does, but a little bit worse in my opinion. But yeah, she's good in cleave. Amelia, now Amelia, people might hate me for this. I think she's very underrated. I've been playing her a lot in RTA, Guild Wars offense, arena offense, everywhere. Even slaughtered her in some defense teams to test her out. I think she's a S tier. I don't think she's like high S tier, but I think she's like low S tier. I'm not gonna put her above Basar, but she's really good because she can cycle her DPS so quickly. So if you play with like a Landy, Carrot, or S10 a lot, and you just constantly S2 them every 2 turns, because the cooldown's only 2 turns, you actually get so much damage out of your DPS. She like buffs your DPS by so much. So if you like playing bruiser comps with like 1 DPS only, and like, you know, like a meat shield around them, then you will love playing Amelia. She also has a cleanse on her S3, making her a counter Carrot, and she has okay healing, but it's not too noticeable. It's mostly about her S2, that's where her power lies, and her cleansing. Next we have Ervalen. Ervalen, he sucks. Yeah, that's all I can say. I guess you can use him on like a wonky set, so I'm gonna put him in D tier above Ada. But he's mostly for Banshee one-shot, and he's not that great at that either, and he's just too squishy. You can just one-shot him too easily. He's designed to counter tanks, but tanks can like kind of one-shot him before he gets his turn off. It's kind of sad. Fairy Tail Tenebria, highest of S tier at the moment, I think. She is just really annoying to play against. Only really hard counter against her is like FCC, and even then, it's not too hard of a counter. She just disrupts your entire team on turn 1, and you just pretty much insta-lose if you don't have an answer to her in draft or RTA. And in arena offense and Guild Wars offense, you can just use her against teams that don't have an answer for her, and you'll pretty much just win all the time. Flan, also cleave unit. I'm going to put her above Elfelt here. If this was only for cleave, she'd be S tier for sure, so yeah, but just overall for PvP, I think she's like a C tier. You can use her as like an AoE defense breaker and buffer, but yeah, very good in cleave. Run her with Basar, and you'll be able to, you know, take down almost every defense up to like champion easily. Haste, poor Haste, sucks in PvE and PvP. He is a bleed stacker detonator, but bleeds are just worse than burns because of their scaling, and also Haste is really squishy, his base stats really low, and also, yeah, he just doesn't do damage. So I'm gonna put him in D tier, right next to Chloe. I think he's a little bit better than Chloe because he can maybe do something than, you know, that Chloe can't. Chloe just sits there and does nothing. Hall the Euphine recently got buffed. I think she's an A tier. Oh, not S tier. A tier, probably below DN. Good Basar counter. She's actually good against Cerise and Fairy Tail Tenebria, even though she's fire, because they gave her evasion in her S2. So she has like a 70% chance to dodge against them. And also she can run an artifact, the new Guild Wars artifact. I think something, I forget what it's called, but basically CR pushes her if she gets hit when she's full HP and has a barrier, which is granted by the artifact. So she can cut a lot of openers and boost her team up. She's actually pretty decent. You can also run her on a bruiser build, and she'll be pretty strong. So I'm gonna put her in A tier for now. I think she might be even better. I think people just don't like using her at the moment. Senya, yeah, Senya's really wonky. Sorry, not Senya. Ilnov. Ilnov's really wonky. Injury is just weak in the game right now. They have to buff it, and also, yeah, also RNG. So I think she's like a C tier, probably above Bologna though. So yeah, somewhere around here. Kana, mostly a PvE unit. She's a connection unit. Very good in some PvE content like Earth Expedition and A13. In PvP, she's kind of bad though. I'm gonna give her D tier, probably below Ervalen. Yeah, I think she's just solely designed for PvE. So yeah, Cowrick. I think Cowrick's really underrated. He has a skill reset. He actually does very decent damage. It's actually surprising. If you see a Cowrick in RTA, especially, like I feel really tempted to ban it when I see him come out because I just know he's like super cracked and like super built, because that's the only reason why I use him. For that reason, I'm gonna give him like a C tier. I think high C tier, maybe even low B tier. I just don't see him too often. That's the thing. I think he needs crazy gear. That's why. But yeah, C tier for sure for me. Maybe B tier even. Kayron used to be S tier, like super S tier, but now he's pretty much countered by everything that's unbuffable in strips. And you know, he also can get CC'd really easily. Like Cerise is really common, just like destroys him. SSB's banner just ran, destroys him, right? I think for that reason, I'm gonna give him a high C tier as well. I'll put him a little bit above Cowrick because we do see him sometimes. He can come out as a counter pick to some units in RTA. You can also use him in Guild Wars offense and arena offense as like a landy counter. Actually, since he's a good landy counter, I'll give him a low B tier. I think that should be fine for him. Now next we have Ken. Ken is really bad. I think he's actually a little bit better than people think, but he's still really bad. He is just really stat hungry, and then he doesn't do that much damage. And like the way his his bar works is a little weird. He recently got buffs, but I don't think he's that strong still. I'm gonna give him a high D tier, the top of D tier, but yeah, I don't think he's good enough to be used anywhere. He used to be really good at the start of Epic 7 when the game first came out, in PvE especially, but nowadays he's just fallen off of PvE, and he was, never too good in PvP to begin with. Next we have Kisei, the premier carrot counter, also very good opener. She does so much damage against tanks as well when she's buffed. I have to give her an A tier. I don't think she's S, but I think she's A. I'm gonna put her above, I think I put her probably below Elena, and above Diane. She's just really good at countering carrot teams. You just literally pick her into carrot and you just go before carrot does and one-shot her, or you reset her S3, which is more likely, and then carrot's like completely sitting there like useless because she can only S1. So yeah, she's a really good counter to carrot, and she can also be used to snipe some other openers if you build her fast enough. Only thing is she's very gear hungry, but she is very fun to use, and she does so much damage. So if you build her and you're struggling with carrot, I think that'll just solve the problem right there, and you can use her to speed contest somewhat. Next we have Crow, easy S tier. This guy's like the super tanky defense buffing knight that holds Aureus and then just one-shots people. So yeah, it's like a tank DPS, kind of OP to be honest. Like he's been like S tier since his release basically for PvP. He's just like super tanky and just does so much damage on S3. Like, I don't understand why a tank can one-shot people like that. And it's really easy to meet the conditions for it because he's just soaking damage with Aureus. So I think he's S tier. He's even probably better than Cerise probably because he's just way more consistent. He's just super OP. Like, yeah, I think Smilegate did a good job designing him, but he seems a little bit too strong. Landy, S tier. Thing is, like, I don't know if she's top of S tier anymore because Carrot's really good against her. There's some good answers to her as well, but I think if you draft her correctly, I think she is top of S tier. Maybe a bit below Fairy Tail Tenebria. It's hard to say. I'm gonna put her right below Fairy Tail Tenebria because I think Fairy Tail Tenebria you can just pick blindly more easily. Landy needs some conditions to be met, but when you do pick her correctly, she just melts teams like they're butter in RTA. Even in Guild Wars offense and arena offense, you can build like an auto Landy team for both of them, where you just press auto and Landy just kills everything. She's really strong, does way too much damage, and she's tanky with guiding light and her base stats. So yeah, pretty strong DPS, one of the strongest in the game. Lidica, you can use her as a counter initiator, really high base speed. Only thing is, she just like does one turn and counter initiates, and she's like kind of useless. I'll give her a high C tier above Karik. You can use her to speed contest, but yeah, she only does like one turn of skill resetting and skill knowing, and she just kind of like sits there. So not too strong, but she's okay as a counter initiator or a speed contester. After that, we have Lilius. Lilius used to be S tier. She used to be one of the best RGB units in the game. People meme that she was like an ML unit, that's a fire unit, but she's fallen off a bit lately. A lot of strong ice units coming out, so it makes her a little bit weaker, but she's still really good as a cleanser, so I'm gonna put her in the low A tier. She has a force tool attack from her S1, so she actually does a lot of damage as well. And you can build her as like a damage dealer too, where you build crit damage and crit chance, and you just run like Senya with her, or like any high attack damage DPS with her, and she actually like does a lot of AoE damage. So she's pretty decent in my opinion. Pretty offensive knight in my opinion. So give her low A tier. I think she's fallen off a bit, but not to the point where she's not playable. Lullaby, she's an RB counter. That's pretty much it. I'm gonna put her high D tier. You can use her. Yeah, I guess that's like. Actually, do I even want to put her D tier? I think I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna put her in D tier. I don't know where in D tier. I think she might be better than Ken, and she might be like usable somewhat more than like Baiken or like I guess Urvalan as like an RB counter or something like that. But she has extinction in her S3, so you can use her against some other units besides RB. So put her in D tier for that reason. Rowana. Rowanna's easy low S tier for me. Some people might say that she's A tier, not S tier. I disagree. I think she's really good. She's good against like Fairy Tail Tenebria. Not a hard counter, but she's decent. She's okay versus Cerise. She's okay against. She's really strong as SSB. And she's okay against a lot of like counter attack units and like dual attack units, which there are a lot of now recently. So very strong pick in RTA. Really solid in arena defense, if not mandatory. Really strong in some offense teams if you find like an SSB defense team or something like that. I think she's S tier. When you pick her correctly, she will just She basically just wins you the game no matter what. That's why I think she's S tier. And while the tier list is so long, it makes me realize how many RGB 5-star units there are in the game actually. Next we have Ludwig. Ludwig is very niche. Like you have to use like invincibility with him. It's like weird to use. I don't think he's worth using for PvP at all. There's just way too much setup, and you know that much setup you put on a different unit, it'll basically do the same thing. Yeah, he's like, kind of like a cleaver, so I'm gonna give him like a D tier. Probably more usable than Ken, but he's still niche. But yeah, I don't think he's that great. Yeah, next we have Luluka. Luluka's a really good PvE unit, but in PvP she's not that great. I think you can use her because she has a stacking attack buff from her S3. Yeah, it stacks up to 3 times I think, so she can actually hit hard, and she like kind of executes people with her S1. So if you run her in like a super tanky comp with like another sub DPS, like a semi DPS unit, maybe she's okay. I don't really see her in RTA that much. You don't really see her anywhere actually in PvP, but I do think she has some potential. I'm gonna give her a C tier, probably around like Asaria, probably a little bit better than Asaria, but yeah, C tier for sure. Luna. Now Luna can be an RB counter with her exclusive equipment, but she's mostly PvE. You can run her on a counter set as well because her S1 boosts. I think she's better than the D tier units. She's not anything special. She needs some buffs for PvP for sure. Give her low C tier. Melissa is like a Riot counter because she bypasses evasion. Besides that, she's not really useful. Her damage is okay, and her invulnerability is nice, or invincibility, but yeah, mostly Riot counter. I'm gonna give her somewhere around here, probably a bit worse than Celine. Mort is bad. I don't know if he's worse than, like, I don't even think he's the worst unit in the game for PvP actually. I think he's like the highest of D tier right now, but he's still pretty bad. Yeah, injury's pretty weak, and yeah, he just does no damage and needs a lot of stats. Not worth building, but not as bad as the other units. Mui is weird, so Mui's next. I love using Mui. I have her built. I use her as an opener, and if you pick her in the right situation, she's very good, especially for RTA. You can use her in arena defense and like offense teams, so she's actually not like only RTA. She's a good opener that has an attack buff as well with the strip, and she can stun the enemy team, like all of them. So she's actually pretty decent. Thing is, there's some RNG because you know she can get 15%ed, like some other openers. But besides that, I think she's pretty strong. I think she's underrated a bit though, so I'm gonna give her probably B tier. I think she's actually better than Valencia at the moment. Probably like high B tier to be honest. I think a lot of people sleep on her because, to be honest, the Mimi banner always comes during summer limiteds because it's the same side story as Holiday Euphine. So because of that, people always skip her banner because she's not limited, and people always say to save either for collab like this time around, or for summer Asaria, or for Seaside Bologna and Holiday Euphine, and pull those limiteds instead. So yeah, I think Mimi needs more love. Her banner timing is always super weird. Smilegate should run her banner like, you know, outside of summer to see how many people pull her. Maybe we'll see her more often. Next we have Pavel. Pavel's not really used too much, but when you see him, he just like one-shots your entire team. Really good for speed cleavers. Yeah, you can run him at like 300 speed and he like one-shots like almost your entire team. This guy's really scary to play against, guys. If you see him in RTA, just ban him. That means he's cracked and he's built correctly. You can use him in offense, I guess, for Guild Wars and Arena, but in RTA he's really strong. I think actually, I'm really tempted to put him in S tier, but because this is overall PvP and not RTA. If it was RTA, I'd put him in S tier, but since it's not, I'll give him high, probably like A tier, like right here. I think it's fine. He's just really powerful and does so much damage if you have the gear to spare on him. Politis is really good on defense teams and for cleavers. She also counters cleave. So I think she's going to be high A tier. I think she's going to be around like here. You actually need her in arena defense to stop cleave, and you need her in RTA as well to stop cleave, albeit you can run some other units. But yeah, I think Politis is also very strong as a cleaver. That's why she can be A. She's pretty flexible. I don't know if I'll put her above Ellen actually. Probably like here is fine. But yeah, very, very strong, decent A tier unit. If you have her, build her and put her on your defense team, and you'll stop all the cleaving. Ravi. Now Ravi used to be S tier for a bit, but she's fell out a little bit of the meta, especially with Carrot being out and all the ice units. But if you do pick her in the right situation, she can literally 1v4 teams. Like actually 1v4. I've seen it a ton of times. I've done it a ton of times. So I think she's A tier for sure because of that reason. Also counters Carrot, or not Carrot, Landy. Yeah, I think she can be probably like mid A tier, maybe above DN right now. I think some people will put her on B tier now, but I still think she's very, very strong if you can pick her correctly. Just be careful not picking her too early because there are a lot of counters for now. Ram, we haven't seen too much of her yet, but I think she's mostly going to be for PvE only. She is the free collab unit, also very good in, you know, Banshee one shot and Water Expedition or Ice Expedition, but yeah, I don't think she'll be that good in PvP. Her kit's mostly for PvE because she can't get CR pushed. Maybe we'll see her as like a weird counter pick. So for now, I'll give her above Mort because I don't want to do her like that and put her below Mort. Next we have Ray. He's a very good cleanser. Only thing is I think Destin might be a little bit better than him because she also heals a lot more, and Amelia's out that can cleanse as well while attack buffing, and Maid Chloe can cleanse while also attack buffing, reviving, stunning, effect resist, etc. So I think he is not as good anymore. He used to be okay, but I think he's like average now. I'll give him high C tier as a cleanser. Yeah, he can only cleanse, that's all he does. Rem, okay, Rem, some people put her in S tier, but I think there are some good counters to her, like Landy, Rowana, G Purge is okay, LR Crow is okay. For that reason, I'm gonna give her high A tier. I think she's really strong. If you pick her in the right situation, she definitely is S tier, but for consistency reasons, I'll give her A tier. She also relies on someone dying, and if you can just focus her down, she kind of is just useless, right? I think Amelia is slightly better than her in PvP, but in PvE, I think Rem's better. And Rem can be better than Amelia if you have the right team comp. It's just that, yeah, it's hard to be more consistent than a Soul Weaver, so, you know, Amelia will be more consistent. But Rem, when she does pop off, she's crazy, crazy strong. SSB is going to be S tier. So many SSB counters released, but she's still really good. Even her biggest counter, Rowana, you can kind of beat with SSB. If you just soul burn SSB's S3 and then you land the healing down, or not healing down, unhealable and unbuffable on the enemy team, then they can't, you know, revive or get healed from that stew. Very strong. So yeah, I think she's good S tier. You also need her in arena offense to auto some teams down. For me, in arena offense, I just run SSB with like 2 tanks and healer, and then I just press auto and come back in 3 minutes, and I win the arena battle in champion. So in high champion actually. So it's really easy to climb arena if you have SSB. Also very good in RTA as a counter pick, and yeah, I think she's easily an S tier because when she's strong, she just wins you the game. Like she becomes a must ban, or you know, a very, very crucial keystone to your team comp in some arena offense and Guild Wars comps. So S tier, I don't know if I'll put her above, yeah, I'll put her above Rowana and Amelia. I think she's about here. I think she's actually above Basar too at the moment. Now Sigurt's obviously, you guys know, the Queen of Wyvern. PvP not so much. People say that she's like good in PvP because she counters RB, but like, yeah, I mean, I guess, but there's so many other RB counters nowadays. And like, yeah, like Lullaby's like an RB counter, right? And she's a D tier, so that means Sigurd's also an RB counter. Should she be in D tier? Well, I guess she can be used as a T CERN counter because her S2 will hit her twice. If she doesn't have a barrier on her, she'll die. So I'm gonna give her above a little bit. I think she'll be D tier though. Put her right below Ram. I think Ram can be used for, you know, a little bit more than her. Senya's weird as well. She is a knight that does a lot of damage, highest attack scaling. She's really good with Lilius because Lilius just S3s with the crit damage build, and Senya's attack will make her super strong. Senya also is kind of countered by Landy because Landy has so many buffs to S3 with. Also weak against Carrot, weak against Ravi, weak against a lot of units. So if you pair with Lilius, I think she can be B tier, but I think just as a unit alone, she's not that strong. I'm gonna give her probably C tier, probably right next to Ilyanov. Actually, they're pretty similar in strength, I'd say. Actually, I'd put Senya probably around, yeah, like right here, I'd say, and probably Ilyanov too there. I don't know why I ranked her so lowly. Yeah, these two are pretty similar in strength. So yeah, C tier. Says used to be really good at cleaving. You used to be able to like Says bomb people where you S3 someone and just like one shots everyone. You can still do it nowadays, but I don't think he's that strong anymore. As a unit for PvP, he's not even that good in PvE anymore. He needs buffs ASAP and equipment, exclusive equipment. So I'm gonna put him D tier. I think he might be a little bit better than Sigurd. Very similar to Sigurd, I'd say, somewhere around here. Soul used as like a Charon counter with that one artifact. Not really used in PvP that much. Put him in D tier. Put him in D tier around somewhere here. Probably a little bit low Ada because Ada can actually CC. But yeah, Soul's mostly PvE. He's like the Ram of Guilty Gear, but a little bit worse for PvP nowadays. Tamarin's also not that good because she needs too much setup. If you pair with Asaria though and Cleave, she can be decent. I don't know, it's hard to say. I've been trying to like run her on a counter build and like super tanky to get her tanky enough to survive to S3, Even then, like, she doesn't do anything until her S3's up, so probably D tier for sure. Yeah, I'd probably put her like right here in the PvP tier list. Yeah, low D tier, mid D tier-ish. Tenebria, pretty good controller. She's has a lot of CC and she has a sleep, so she's pretty decent. She actually does like decent damage as well in PvP. I think she's pretty underrated. People actually used to run her a lot in the past as a controller, like opener, or like a secondary opener. So yeah, just because she has so much CC and has some decent debuffs, I'm gonna put her in C tier. I think she might be better than Lidica, but probably worse than Ray. Tywin, completely outclassed by Flan nowadays. Still okay as a cleaver though, so I'm gonna put him in C tier. Probably around like here for Tywin. He has an AoE defense break and like a buff in his S2 similar to Flan, but Flan's just better. Yeah, Tywin is good in cleave, and I guess you can use him somewhat in like offense teams as well without cleaving, but I don't know why you would. Vildred, very good cleaver, mostly because of his imprint, speed imprint, very good. It's like plus 12 speed I think at SSS, or plus 14 maybe. Just makes it so you'll outspeed no matter what if you have him SSS as a cleaver. I used to run Vildred as a cleaver all the time in arena offense. I used to run him, Cdom, Sinful Angelica, and I had one more, Faithless Lidica. It was like the OG cleave team that people used to use back in the day, and it was pretty good. He just makes it so you always outspeed, and he does like okay damage, not crazy damage, but if you do get the 1 kill and reset and then his S2 goes off, he has a lot of damage. I think for that reason I'll give him low B tier. His speed imprint's just really broken for cleaving. In RTA you see him sometimes because of his imprint and he's like a cleaver, and in offense teams you can use him as well. Violet recently got buffed, pretty strong actually. I think he's like the green or earth Ravi, but I think he's like a little bit better nowadays. I think I'm gonna put him I don't think he's S tier, but I think he's around here for A tier. His buffs made him pretty viable. I think he's fun to use, a little bit of RNG, but he evades like most of the time, so it's not really RNG. And yeah, he just has a lot of damage and a lot of lifesteal built in, so yeah, pretty strong. A tier, top of A tier for sure. You can use him basically anywhere. I see him in defense teams as well sometimes, but yeah, he's usable anywhere in PvP. He's especially strong in RTA though. Vivian, attack buffer, you can use it as a cleaver as well. Used to be really popular in the past, but now she's fallen a little bit off. But I think she's like an okay B tier. She has an immunity buff, attack buff, and she has cleave potential in her S2. So I think she's fairly strong. People just stop using her a bit because she has 2 buffs for her entire team, so Landy will just, counter it, and there's a lot of good fire units out, like Ravi, Holiday Youthing up buffs, stuff like that. Like Charlotte's good, Politis, right? Politis actually kind of hard to counter as Vivian, so I'm gonna give Vivian a low B tier. If you like to cleave with her, you can use her, I guess, but I wouldn't really recommend it anymore. Just too many counters. In offense teams, you can maybe use her as like an attack buffer, so in like especially in cleave teams. So I'll give her a low B tier. Euphine, yeah, pretty bad. Single target nuker, kind of like Sermia, but like Earth. But I think she does a little bit less damage, and it doesn't have like enough pop off potential because Sermia just resets her S2 over and over. So I'll put her like right next to Luna, I guess. She's not terrible, I guess, but she's not that great either. Yuna, free unit. There's some legend player that uses her all the time. I think she's pretty strong. I have her built actually and used her. She's actually really fun to use. She has a team-wide speed buff and attack buff. She actually does like a lot of AoE damage. The only problem is she gets hard countered by Landy. She has too many buffs for her team that are not that great. And yeah, I think I'm gonna give her like a C tier. I think she's probably around like here, a little bit below Tenebria, but better than the other units for sure. Actually, no, I'm gonna put her even lower. I don't think she's that great. Probably right above Melissa. Yeah, that looks right. Zerad, wait, okay, no, Zerada's a 4-star. Yeah, I don't know what the hell this guy does. He's from the Hall of Trial shop. We'll put him at the bottom. Actually, we'll put him above Chloe because Chloe sucks, and Haste. Please buff them. Please buff them so they're usable. But yeah, that's the entire tier list, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any disagreements or quarrels about it, just let me know in the comments. I kind this really fast. The tier list is super long, and it is always subject to change with buffs and nerfs. But nerfs won't really happen, I guess, and like units that come out. So yeah, don't take it too seriously, guys. It's just a tier list, guys. It's not like this is how strong they actually are. This is just my experience in using them. And if you guys have some units built and have tried them extensively, you guys may know more than I do about some units. And I guarantee you guys do if you guys use them that much. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and make sure you always leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps out my channel. and I'll see you guys next video, and hopefully with another tier list soon.